Hi, people. I made a video yesterday about companies that assist landlords in renting to people, basically management companies for properties, property management companies. And I'm finding out that there's I don't know if it's a scam or I don't know, but I've been calling like my congressman, my senator. I've called Governor DeSantis' office, and I'm waiting for replies from them and what kind of oversight. Because if you're living today and just say that you got a credit score of 600, and you're going and rents $2,000 a month, and then your security deposits another 2,000, so that's $4,000. By the time you move in, like the total cost is like 51 to $5,200, because these management companies, they do background checks. Each person is $85, each adult. So if you got four people in your house, that's $340, and it's non-refundable. So I'm trying to find out if there's ever any oversight, because here's some of the questions I asked. That I asked the lady, well, if you do a background check, will I get a receipt from you or from your company or from the entity that you're doing my background check from? Will I get a receipt or a piece of paper saying that your background has been recently looked into, or from Equifax, Experian, the credit score agencies? Will I get a paper from them saying that your credit report has been searched in the last couple days by a certain company? And the answer that I got from every company, management company that I talked to, was no. So, if you're looking for apartments or something like that, in which, if you have a criminal background or something like that, I understand it if it's recent, but there should be. I know there's something out there called the Fair Housing Act, and they say race, creed, color, your background or whatever. And if you did say you did have a criminal record and you did 5 years in a penitentiary, well, you paid your debt to society. I can understand if you just got paroled 2 weeks ago or something, and I can't even understand that. Like I'm saying, you paid your debt. But they give you no receipt. So this is an ongoing thing. So if it's $1,025 or $1,050 that you're paying for their services, like one of the services are a lease processing fee of $250. Well, I know it don't cost $250 to write up a lease. You could buy standard leases at Kinko's for like 10 cents a sheet, and they're standard leases. So what I'm trying to find out is well, they can make a business out of this, and it could be like a scam if there's no oversight. Like how and it can add up pretty quick. If you look at, say, 10 places, and they might not even be running it, they're just keeping your money and saying that's $10,000. For another $10,000, like, you can put a down payment on a house. Like, me and my wife are older now, and we don't choose to own. I've owned a house. I owned a house for 15 years up in Pennsylvania. I just didn't want to live there anymore. My wife's mother, she lives down here in Florida. My wife wanted to be closer to her mother, so we moved down here. But these are the things that I'm trying to find out. And especially with all the scams that are going on, like in Minnesota with daycare fraud and all these things, and out in California, they got the Stop Nick Shirley Act. This kid is a 23-year-old kid who is out there trying to identify like taxpayer fraud, and their actual, like, Congress is trying to put an act to make it like he's the illegal one. They're not like saying, well, stop fraud. No, it's stop Nick Shirley, this 23-year-old kid, because he's exposing fraud, waste, and abuse in our system. And in our system today, what's good is bad, what's bad is good. It's the system of the beast. And I don't know. I'm just trying to get this out to as many people because it can happen to you too. And I'm sure it's just not this state. In Florida, we have a lot of people that's moving, like, because of New York City, they're off the chain in taxes with this socialist mayor. He wants to tax the rich and give free shit away to all the poor people, which is a good idea, that Robin Hood effect. But, like, you know what? You need the rich as a tax base. Them poor people ain't got shit. So they ain't paying much money. And it's okay if you don't got no money. I understand. I believe if you put something into life, you get something out of life. If you worked hard and worked all your life, you should have a decent, at least Social Security check or a pension if you're lucky. But in America today, it's not that way. We have become a country of, we want the most reward for the least amount of work. And it's a terrible thing. Like, no one owes me nothing. But when you spot something, like, you know what? I could own a house. I repeated this yesterday, but I could own a house, put it up start a management company, put it up on for rent, charge all these fees, and if I get just 10 clients a month, that would be $10,000. Just $10,000 off of one house. So if I was an entrepreneur and I had 10 houses and I was showing them to 100 people a month, that's $100,000 a month. You know what I mean? Hire a couple people, but no one ever gets the house. And I'm sure at some point you would get caught up to, or maybe you wouldn't. I don't know, because I don't know if there's any oversight in this. I called my congressman, Daniel Webster. He don't have an answer for me. He gave me another number, a Taylor, somebody. I called Governor DeSantis' office twice, still waiting for them to get back to me. And I fixed my housing issue. Like, I come to an agreement with my landlord that I'm here now, but it's just kind of funny to me that, like, okay, so I'm willing to pay you the $1,025 to this company to do a background search, you know what I mean, a processing fee and all that. But shouldn't I get a document from that company and saying, look, we did a background search on him. His background was so-and-so. His credit report is so-and-so. All the people that he put on the application, here's their credit score, here's their background check. And so when the next company I go to looking for a house, I can hand them, and this is my wife's idea, not mine, because I ain't bright enough to come up with that. But why can't I have a piece of paper from the former management company saying that this is all his things that he applied for, and because I paid for it, it's mine, I should get the piece of paper saying that I did apply for it and this was my credit score, but I didn't get the house. Maybe somebody had a better credit score. Maybe somebody didn't go to jail. Maybe, like, you know what, their income is better. I don't know, but at least I should get something stating that I applied for it and paid for it, and here's the results of it. And every company, and there's at least 5 that we've dealt with, all said no, you don't get nothing. It's all non-refundable, and no. So it just seems like a big racket to me, and I don't know what to do next. I'm waiting for these calls to come back from congressmen, senators, and Governor DeSantis' office, but I'm sure they're in no hurry, because, like, down here, a lot of people, like I said, flooded from other cities, from New York, from up north, from California, and they all flood into Florida, and there's a big housing market here, which, when you have a big influx of people, it creates scam opportunities. I'm not saying that it is a scam, but what I am saying is that it creates scam opportunities. Like when they had big hurricanes down here a couple years ago, there was a bunch of roofing contractors that came in here and they just gave all these people estimates and put blue tarps over their house, got big down payments, man, and boom, they were gone. You know, but they made a law that now you need a Florida contractor's license or an out-of-state contractor's license to even go knock on somebody's door to solicit to do work for them, which is a good thing because it protects the homeowner. You know, so I don't know. I'm just trying to figure things out every day. more and more, but they put up obstacles because I don't think they want us to have things. I do. I think they want you to suffer. And that's our whole government, like from the top to the bottom. They don't want you to succeed. And then I tried here, down here, we got, it's Duke Energy. And so me and my wife, well, my wife did, she called Duke Energy and said, well, can we have an average for a year on the electricity bills over a year's time? What was the highest? What would be the average for the house that we applied for? Duke Energy said, well, no one's been in that house since 2021. There are no electric bills. So what's that tell me? And they say that this house has only been on the market for 10 days. But there is no one that's lived in there for 4 years. Now, maybe the people had it empty for a reason. I don't know that. I'm not casting no dispersions on the owners of the property. But you told me that it's only been on the market for 10 days. So you're telling me that there's been no electricity running through that house for 4 years? You know what I mean? And it ain't like it went through a renovation, because I come from a contracting background, and I could tell new contracting like work and stuff that was already there. It was a very nice house. Like I have no complaints about the house at all. There was one cracked tile going from the garage into the one room, but I explained that to the lady, and just to make sure that, like, if we did get the place, we wouldn't get blamed for cracking that towel. But I'm telling you the stuff that's going on. I'm not saying it's a scam, but what I'm saying, it's a ripe opportunity for scam. So just think about it, and maybe if you're in the same position and you're looking for a place, put in the comments if you went to property management companies and you've had the same results, or maybe you had different results. I read the comments. I'm not complaining. I'm just trying to find out information, because this is new to me. Like I said, I own my home. I come down here, like we've been down here 14 years, 13, almost 14 years, and we've had places too. And I've paid my rent every month. I've never been late once on my rent. So I haven't really went through this. This has only probably happened in the last 5 years. I guess COVID and people getting scammed. I don't know. But, it used to be that, like, you would go up with a wad of cash in your hand or a check in your hand with the first month's, last month, and maybe security deposit, and say, like, here, do you want me as your tenant? And they would, if they do a background check, it was like $25, and it was you. It wasn't your family, your dog. And then they start putting fees on there for your animals. You got to put what kind of breed they are, what kind of, like, and I'm like, well, what's that got to do with the price of tea in China? Dogs ain't like human beings. They're property, And the lady said, well, a dog can do damage. I said, well, so can my car. If I'm coming up the driveway and my brakes go and I run through the wall, like I have renter's insurance, but that ain't good enough. You can't use your own renter's insurance. I got renter's insurance through State Farm, but you can't use your own. You got to use theirs, and that's another fee. And then then there's this smart home like fee. I don't want a smart home. I don't want my house watching me. I don't need my refrigerator, like, you know what I mean, to tell me like what needs put in there. Like, I'm pretty adroit. I can open my refrigerator, look when I need to know when I need milk. Like, I ain't got to be a weatherman to tell the weather outside. All I got to do is stick my head out a window. Like, and they make it unnecessary. And sometimes technology, it's the beast. It is the beast. It's that 666 beast. And they say, oh, it's good and it's all this and that's all that. Well, sometimes it's overrated. Have you ever got like a teleprompter and got sent to the ninth circle of hell, where you just like, oh my God, for the love of God, just please, can I speak to a human being? Now, and they told my wife, well, talking to AI is just like talking to a human being. No, it ain't. A human being is like talking to a human being. Because you got to keep yelling into the phone, and it gets you frustrated. Like, I'd like to speak to a person, please. And they just keep putting you in a leather. I didn't get that. Please repeat your sentence. Push one. You know what I mean? And basically, by the end of the conversation, you want to take a rope and hang up. You know what I mean? Because you spend 45 minutes on a telephone with a machine and never got to talk to nobody. And that's what they want you to do. They want you to give up. You know, and it's hard to talk to a human being. So I don't know. I guess that's just me venting and complaining because that's what I do. But I'm just trying to find out information. So if anybody could put in the comments of this video, like on what they did or how they did it, you know, I would greatly appreciate it. Thank you and have a good night. Have a blessed day. Goodbye.